So as I'm sure you're aware of by now, the Florida Panthers are in the Stanley Cup Final. Duh, it's going to start on Saturday. I cannot wait. Fantastic stuff coming here. But in the meantime, we're a little bit starved for stories. I'll admit it, this is a slight one, but I gotta talk about it because it's honestly been blown out of proportion, and it's got legs. Like, actual reputable hockey outlets are talking about this because of how many people have complained about it or talked about how awful it is. Come on, let's get into it. So this guy named David Dwork posted a couple of days ago a tkachuk Stanley Cup Final jersey. Now, I'm going to give you about 3 seconds to figure out what people would have possibly been mad at from these two pictures. 1, 2, 3, there you go. It's the Stanley Cup Final patch. Now, in previous years, the Stanley Cup Final patch was always on the right side of the chest, and you know, it's iconic, it looks great, that's where it's supposed to be, except for a few teams like the Rangers in 2014 that elected to put it on the shoulder, which that just looked super weird, but hey, it's neither here nor there. This year, it's on the left side of the Panthers jerseys because they have those sponsorship ads on the right side. Now, the Panthers also did this earlier in the season with the All-Star Game patches because, again, the sponsorships, and people were outraged over that too, but this one has drawn up a whole new ire for a lot of hockey fans, especially jersey collectors, and I just don't get it. I mean, especially from Florida Panther fans, I don't understand the outrage here. Like, I guess the jersey sponsorship stuff in general and the fact that we keep seeing more and more, like on the helmets and then now on the jerseys, I guess I see where that would rub people the wrong way, especially with an Original Six classic franchise like the Montreal Canadiens putting the RBC logo on that historic jersey, sure. But at the same time, the Florida Panthers are in the Stanley Cup Final right now, and there's a whole lot of people, trust me, more people than you think, who were outraged over where the Stanley Cup Final patch is. I mean, be happy that your team is there in the Stanley Cup Final and gets to have a patch anywhere. I'll put the thing on my forehead if I get my team in the Stanley Cup Final. And so many people ended up complaining about this. The Hockey News ended up making an article talking about the Stanley Cup Final patch location. And even they mentioned that, like, hey, at least you're in the Cup Final. So to me, again, a head scratcher that this is even a discussion or something that people are getting upset about. I get maybe being up in arms about it for like 2 seconds about like, ooh, that looks weird. And then moving on because, again, you're in the Stanley Cup Final. And yes, it looks janky, especially when it's like a Barkov or a Tkachuk that has an A on the jersey. It looks extra clunky and cluttered. But hey, who cares? Let's just move forward here. Cup Final starts in a couple days. I cannot wait for that. Tell me how riled up you are for it. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.